In a bygone era, there lived a princess most fashionable, with black high heels adorning her feet and a modern dress draped upon her frame. Her chambers were decorated in the style of the Nordic lands. Even her guards were clad in leather jackets, trousers, and shoes to match. Yet she had an obsession with hunting down time travelers, going so far as to establish a secret department for this very purpose. Any time traveler discovered would be executed without mercy, and the unfortunate young man before her, having just arrived in this dynasty, was about to face his demise. But with a fierce will to survive, he fought back against the eunuch executioner, only to discover that the man bore an uncanny resemblance to himself. To save his own life, the young man decided to impersonate the eunuch. He was then assigned by the head eunuch to serve the princess. The other eunuchs advised the young man to accept his fate, for those who served the princess never met a good end. The next day, the young man reported to the princess' chambers. Seeing her dressed so fashionably and beautifully, his heart momentarily felt much more at ease. But just as the other eunuchs had warned, the princess was ruthless and decisive in her actions. She immediately tested the young man to see if he was a time traveler, asking him a series of questions. The young man feigned ignorance, claiming he did not know how to answer. Seeing the young man's desperate fear for his life, the princess temporarily spared him. But the test was far from over. As competition existed among the eunuchs, the newcomer soon found himself targeted by a senior eunuch. The simplest way to destroy someone in the palace was to prove they were a time traveler. Sure enough, that night the young man received a note written in modern script. It named a location. The young man could not discern if the sender was friend or foe, so that night he dared not sleep and could only hide to the side. As a result, the senior eunuch came to check on the situation in the middle of the night. It was then that the young man realized the senior eunuch was trying to frame him. Since this was the case, he could not sit idly by and await his fate. The next day, the young man purposely wrote a note in modern script and placed it at his waist. He then deliberately bumped into the eunuch, letting him discover the note. This clumsy act surprisingly worked. The senior eunuch took the bait and immediately went to report him. Moments later, the young man was brought before the princess. Faced with the eunuch's accusation, the young man pretended to be flustered. The eunuch confidently presented the evidence, but in the next instant he was stunned. This was clearly the note the young man had burned. How had it suddenly reappeared?